Hello, how you guys doing? James here. Hope you doing well. Well, I'm going to show you a story. This is a social history lesson, and it's going to bring it up to why is this racial gap, racism thing keep going on, and I'm going to show. This is another part of another video showing how there are white people are coming up under the curse of what they have done. And some of them don't even recognize it. Some see it, but they can't believe it. I mean, other people are suffering. People are suffering, but it's just like they've been all over the internet and countless of people. But let's start where the history coming from.
Mountains of documents and
You'll remember that when the Portuguese started, they wanted to trade in gold and spices. But then they discovered that there was another commodity, the human being. And it is interesting that even the now very quiet European powers were involved in what later became the transatlantic triangle of slavery. The Danes were there. If you look at the Cape Coast Castle in Ghana, in what is today Ghana, they participated in the building of it. The Swedes were there. The Norwegians were there. The Dutch were there. The British were there. The French were there. The Spaniards were there. The Germans were there.
Why do students graduate knowing the names of Columbus and Caesar, but not Mansa Musa or the builders of Great Zimbabwe? Why are Rosa Parks and Martin Luther King Jr. remembered, while Ella Baker and Bayard Rustin are erased? Why do textbooks celebrate American progress, yet bury the destruction of Tulsa's Black Wall Street or Rosewood? This is not an accident, it is erasure.
There it is, right there. Now this is I want to stop it right here, and I want to show you what's been going on. What's going on recently, and it's because it's something like that. The erasement. And it's the judgment has fallen on this particular community. And they don't even see it come. Some people see it coming. Some people can't understand why is it happening. But you're about to find out. And let me see this.
so I try to warn y'all. Oh my goodness. So what we are currently witnessing is Lyndon Johnson's quote manifested. And the quote going to, if you can make the poorest of the whites believe that they're superior than, the blacks, then you can go in their pockets. And that's precisely what is happening right now. Because there was so much hatred during this last election. I wasn't privy to it. But now seeing that the actions of people and what they thought was going to happen, I realized, y'all really didn't like her because she was a black woman, all right? And then you saw the CIA agents who were saying, well, she not black, she Indian. Well, Lucas, she did the collard greens in the bathtub, okay? That's the trick bag, family. And you start to see this full picture. And I'm like, wow, you had the CIA agents working hand in hand with the white elites. And now both groups, both tribes are being hurt. And it's sad to see. It really is sad to see because I try warning people.
In 2 weeks, I'm done. You want to talk about regretting your vote?
I never thought I'd say that, but I regret my vote. I voted for Trump.
I voted for Trump, and I regret it now.
As a Hispanic, I voted for Donald J. Trump. Dude, I regret it so much, man.
I'm regretting my vote for Donald Trump.
I voted for Donald Trump, and now I regret it.
A lot of people who were like me who voted for Trump and have to account for that.
I believe voting is for the adults alone. No kids are voting, no children's, no people who are not mature or maybe they've not gotten to an age of voting are voting in any country. I've never come across a country where children are voting. So anybody who voted for Trump is a grown-up, is an adult, and I believe he or she knows what they were doing when they were standing before the ballot and casting their vote for Donald Trump. And so if anything ever happens to the white people after voting Trump into the government, if any consequences happens or comes across, the last thing that white people should do, or the last thing I expect the MAGA supporters to do, is to condemn the black people for not supporting them after what is happening to them right now. Because I remember when black community was gathering behind and telling the white people not to vote Trump into the government because they had known what Trump is capable of doing, and they said shouldn't vote Donald Trump. But because the narrative was make America great again, and everybody was thinking making America great again, they're gonna live better, and the poor going to suffer black people. Yeah, because it has been their character to make sure the black people are suffering or something like that. And Trump came with a lot of promises. Yeah, the immigration and all that, the deportation of the immigrants and all that. But white people did not know all these strategies that he's coming with is going to affect them. Now they're crying and they want black people to help them.
Hey, really appreciate you treating us to Canes today, Tom.
Hey, anything from my favorite TV personality. Oh, and Kurt Hershey.
It's a small and rare decline in the life expectancy for women, but the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention says...
I'm sorry, wrong one. That's the wrong video, I'm sorry. Thought it was the wrong video. But I want to well, let me go back to let me go back and show you this one. Here it is.
Channel. Well, I consider this to be breaking news because we are starting to see a large group of people that are taking to the internet and they are telling it all. They are explaining exactly how life is treating them, right? A demographic of people who have been used to being able to do things that others could not do. One guy, he's even going to explain how despite him not having as plush a life as people think, that even he had it better than so-called black folk, right? So anyway, I want you all to take a listen at what these people are going to be talking about, because America is on the verge of collapse. And these people are explaining how they are being affected by this, right? So many are used to this being a one-sided situation, but now it is no longer a one-sided situation. Everyone is feeling the collapse as it is happening. Before getting into this, I want you all to go ahead and share the broadcast so that others can join in on this very important topic with us. Okay? If you are new to the channel and you enjoy the truth, I double dare you to subscribe and be sure to hit the notification bell. That way you can be notified each and every time we upload or go live. But anyway, these people are going to be telling you how life is treating them. And it doesn't sound like it's too good at all. We tried to tell folk, no one really believed us, but it is here and it is happening. White Americans on the verge of being broke and homeless, and they are telling what is going on with their lives. They are telling it all. Some are pointing at the Trump administration, while others are still stopping shy of blaming the Trump administration for what is going on. Anyway, I want you all to take a listen at all of this, and of course, you know, I will be right back. Just a moment. I'll get that for you in just a moment, family. So I'm going to continue speaking for you here. But these testimonies are they're really a trip, because a lot of times people, they have the wrong idea about some things, especially, I'm going to say this, especially about who's getting welfare, okay? Everyone always wants to make welfare a black thing, but I'm going to show you right now that it has never been a black thing. It's always been something else, but there are more of them that are getting on it now. As a matter of fact, one guy is actually going to bring you the statistics on that. He's going to show you how it went from this percentage, which was still above what black people are getting, and it's to a new percentage. Now, he's going to show you that, and I'm not surprised at all, but they are saying the quiet parts out loud, because many of them are getting tired of the narrative that we, the so-called black people, are the ones that are sucking the system dry. But let's take a look at what this guy is talking about. Well, there's a few of them talking, actually. They're going to tell you how their lives are looking as well, and it's not just so-called black people suffering under this administration. Take a listen at this, and I'll be right back.
Because the American dream is dead.
In just 10 weeks, you could be on your way to a new career in dental assisting with Assist to Succeed.
Because the American dream is dead. The average home in the United States costs $418,000. Do you know anyone making that much money? Do you know anyone? Do you know anyone that started a business that's not drop shipping or like some sort of AI gig economy? Like, do you know anyone that owns a store? Name 2 people. Do you know anyone that our age that owns a house that did not get help from their parents? Like, there's no jobs. All the listings are fake. Jobs don't even offer healthcare. So then you're on Medicaid, you get kicked off because of the big beautiful bill that just got passed. The American dream is dead. And then they tell you you're not working hard enough. Like, make it make sense to me. So props to this creator for just verbalizing that, because I empathize 100%. You're not doing enough. America's not doing enough for you.
You want to talk about white privilege? I was born dirt poor. Roaches in our food, mattresses on the floor, eviction notices taped to the doors, kind of poor. My parents, their side hustle was beating me and my siblings bloody. I missed more meals than I can count. When we did eat, it was ramen, canned foods, or whatever we could steal from the gas station. There were 8 of us kids. Don't come at me like I grew up in some quiet backwoods town either. We weren't hearing deer rifles, we were hearing 9mm and Glocks on a nightly basis. Not because we were hunting, because we were dodging stray bullets in the inner city. I had a baby as a teenager, thought maybe I could break the cycle, went to college, flunked out quick. Life was swinging before I even had a chance to plant my feet. Then the military came knocking, promised me structure, a future, and a way out. What I got? Another flavor of hell. Straight out of basic, they shipped me to Afghanistan. 19 years old, couldn't buy a beer back home, but I could carry a rifle, kick indoors, and watch friends die in pieces. I came home to a wife who had cheated on me while I deployed, ended in divorce, missed my baby's first steps, first words, first everything. I got the title Dad, but only for every other week when the courts allowed me. So I drank, I numbed it out, I drowned it in alcohol and women, hopped from job to job, security, government contracts, even worked with the feds for a minute, but it all fell apart. I ended up homeless, ashamed, alone, and broken. Now, I've been sober for 4 years, been through more therapy than most folks can stomach, read hundreds of books, and here's what I figured out. As bad as I have had it, if I was black, I probably wouldn't have survived it. That ain't an opinion, that's truth. Black Americans make up 13% of the population, but 38% of the prison population. 1 in 3 black boys born today, they're expected to end up behind bars. That ain't by accident. That is policy. That's centuries of them passed off as justice. The 13th Amendment did not abolish it, rebranded it. It says slavery is legal as punishment for a crime. That's why we got corporations making billions off of prison labor while folks inside earn cents an hour if they're lucky. That clause was written to target black Americans, and it's still doing exactly that. Now I run an organization called West Virginia Fights Back. We feed people, we take care of people. No strings, no red tape, no begging for scraps. We take care of our own because the government won't. My dream? A Fights Back chapter in every damn state. Abolish the prison industrial complex. Burn the cage down. Build something real in its place. Fred Hampton said you can jail a revolutionary, but you cannot jail the revolution. This is not about shame. This is about responsibility. If you've had the privilege of not being targeted by the system, you've got the...
In America, there's a misconception about who is on welfare. Now, let me just say this. There is no one in the United States that constitutes welfare. There are many social programs in the United States that are part of what the United States calls the social safety net, which is really not much of a safety net at all when you consider the meager benefits that people receive. So, what I've decided to do is look quickly at the statistics from the last census. Now, this holds true going back, but actually in the last 20 years it has increased. The number of people receiving public benefits of some sort or another has increased amongst one particular demographic, and that is amongst white people. 20 years ago, 61% of all the people receiving public benefits of some kind in the United States were white people. Today, or as
Okay, so this guy right here, he's about to get into the statistics, and he's telling you how long ago where 61% of them were receiving public benefits. But now, listen to what he tells you about today. What's happening today is totally different. That number has increased, right? So many of them, and I've seen other videos where they're talking about they're broke, they can't pay their bills, they're about to be homeless. They have to make a choice between buying gas to get to work or paying to buy food to eat this week, right? So they are starting to see exactly how so-called black people have lived for so long, where there is a system that is actively against their well-being, right? Many of them were okay with it, just being so-called black people, but now they are starting to experience exactly what we were talking about. Take a listen.
Of 2022, whereas the last census, 76.2% of all the people receiving some form of public benefit were white people, and the rest were people of color, 13%, people of Asian extraction, 6%, give or take, and people of Hispanic, somewhere down in the middle there. So let's just talk about what constitutes public benefits. So I'm going to read this list here, and this is what makes up all of welfare, if you will, in the United States. Medicaid, SNAP, WIC, free or reduced price school meals, SSI, TAANF, energy aid, rental subsidy, unemployment compensation, and assorted other programs. So 40 million people in the United States poverty, and that number approximately is the number of people who receive public benefits of some kind. And of course that varies when you include Social Security recipients, Medicare, etc., which is not it's an earned benefit, so I'm going to eliminate that for the moment. So of those people, the number of people receiving public benefits, welfare, if you will, some form of social program, social safety net support, as I said, 76.2% are whites. So I think this is important to remember when people start talking out of their ass.
People don't understand how truly poor the American South is. I moved from Tennessee to California about 4 years ago, and I'm still paying for it now. We just don't have the money to move, and so I don't really meet a lot of people from Tennessee out here. The closest I find are really people from Ohio, and so now I'm a Browns fan. But I bring that up because that's an important component in understanding the political divide. It has taken a lot for me to understand that social programs are there for me to use them because for most of my life there was not enough to go around. I remember the first time I went to a food bank and they gave me an onion, I actually cried. Not like onion cried, but cried because it wasn't required food. It was flavor, and that was a luxury I couldn't really ever afford. And then I learned that they had like taco seasoning, and oh my god, it was amazing. But when you're used to getting by on so little, and the only security you really feel you have is the ability to make a dollar stretch, it is scary to ask for help, and you wonder who you're taking it away from. So when people take aid when they're destitute as opposed to like nearly, I think people can jump into judgment because they probably need the aid just as much as the person who received it, and they're scared it won't be there when they're long past needing it. Guys, there's enough to go.
At the root of crime is poverty. Crime is present in nearly all societies throughout history, so it's not just poverty. Some crime occurs because people just do crime. Greed can drive crime, but the majority of crime is driven by poverty and the conditions created by poverty. And though addiction affects all classes, at its core, addiction is also created by the conditions created.
I notice he said at the root of crime is poverty, and then he began to clean it up a little bit because most of the crime, if we are paying attention, if the world is paying attention, it actually comes from the top, okay? Most of the crime comes from the top. When you're talking low-level crime, that may be poverty, right? But these big-ticket things that, robbing whole nations, I mean, that's the real criminality. And that's the kind of criminality they don't want to talk about, right? Because then they would have to talk about their own dirty deeds. It's a crime to go to another country and steal its resources. But they spend so much time talking about low-level crime that they want to shift focus. That's right, Greta, they're the biggest criminals, right? They want to shift the focus from the stealing of people, right? Slavery. They want to get your mind off of that. They want to get your mind off of all of the historical artifacts that have been taken from Africa, right? They want to get your mind off of all of the things that they have done around the world, stealing whole lands, clearing it out. How can I say this? Unaliving the people and taking their land. That's the worst kind of criminality. But part of their strategy and their tactic is to put more focus on the low-level crime, amplify that as if it's the worst ever. This is why you have Donald Trump. Listen, y'all, this is why you have the criminal-in-chief, right? 34 times convicted felon in the White House trying to get your attention on Washington, D.C. crime statistics. Now he's saying that he's going to go into Chicago as well. He's saying that the crime is so bad, we got to go in there with the military and straighten things out. Now, who's going to straighten out the White House? Who's going to straighten out?
That's a good question. But I want to show you, get back to what's going on with the Reapers, the curses that he up under. Shot the infantry trucker.
More and more is going to keep coming out about this flood down in Texas where all these little girls were killed. You know, it's Camp Mystic. It's the name of the camp. Been around for generations. And one thing about this camp that might make a difference in how all this is handled is that it's a camp for rich kids. Yeah, these were kids from wealthy families. These are wealthy white kids, and their parents paid almost $5,000 for their kids to go to sessions at this camp. And as awful as it sounds, me and you both know, it'll get more attention than if this was a bunch of poor kids. And the weather service said like 3 to 6 inches of rain, ended up being 12. The river came up really quickly. The weather service wasn't getting the information out as they should. There's no sirens in that area to warn people that the river's coming up. Should the camp directors have heeded the original warnings and moved the kids up? The kids that were washed away were the younger of the fellows, and their cabins were right next to the river. Well, the other campers, the older ones, are up on the hill, and they're fine. So maybe they should have taken the initiative and moved those little guys up to the top of the hill for the night. But hindsight's 20/20. The fact is, a lot of little kids have lost their lives in this flood, and it's a preventable tragedy. It's just a shame. So will we hear more from these parents? Probably. Money gets attention. We all know it's true. And these were wealthy children. Yeah. Just tragic. This little guys.
And look, y'all already know on this channel we hold racist Caucasian people accountable. And sometimes, because if we don't, who will? And before we get to this video, if you don't like black people, black issues, black talks, get the step. Racial discrimination against African Americans has a long and difficult history in Texas, including areas like Kirk County. Slavery. Kirk County had a slave population before the Civil War, with some families only enslaved people around Kerrville and Center Point. The KKK was active in Texas, using violence and terror tactics, and hanging from ropes became a prevalent form of racial intimidation. One instance involved the hanging from ropes of 6 black men in Kerrville in 1894. Recent discussions in Kerrville acknowledge that racism, while perhaps not always overt, continues to be a reality for some members of the local black community. Make that make sense. And the ironic part is, all this stuff happened, the flood happened on the 4th of July. And again, rest in peace to those young girls that died in that flood. But this woman was right. Money gets attention. Just look at these sundown towns. Every time they have a major disaster, they get all the right media. They get the sympathy from the whole country. I told y'all on a lot of my videos, all of my videos, I'm always telling y'all about the media. They know how to make you care about something and not give a damn about the other. Hurricane Katrina, we saw what the media did. They changed the whole narrative. Instead of helping people, it took George Bush 5 days to bring in the Coast Guards to help people down here in New Orleans. He watched elderly people die because they didn't have their medicine. He watched people floating in water. He watched the cops shoot black people for no reason, just had an excuse, said there was looting. So you telling me in Texas they don't loot? I ain't hear nothing about them shooting people. I told y'all the media is powerful, but let me show you how powerful our ancestors are. I told y'all, after that Carmelo Anthony incident, our ancestors don't sleep. Camp Bandina in Houston, mostly black kids, they escaped death. Matter of fact, run a tape.
Tonight, a North Houston community is feeling relief after flash flooding near Camp Bandina left roads blocked and families worried. A bus finally pulled back into town, bringing home dozens of kids and a wave of emotion. Orko Mano was there for the heartfelt reunion.
To see this bus pull into the parking lot of Garden Oaks Church of Christ in North Houston is such a relief for these families. All these kids spending time this week at Camp Bandina, a Christian youth camp in Bandera, Texas. Flooding from the Guadalupe River and this tree blocking their way out of the camp, causing concern for loved ones.
I missed y'all. I'm so glad y'all made it back safely.
Erica White, grateful to see her 13-year-old daughter Madison Saturday and share an embrace. It's comforting to know all the kids are okay.
We were just praying, and last night was rough, but I was so happy when I could track her on Life 360 and see that they were heading back. So very grateful.
The panic paralyzing, knowing that less than 30 miles north of Camp Bandina in the Texas Hill Country is Camp Mystic. In the wake of the intense flooding Friday, Camp Mystic officials say more than 20 kids are still missing.
That camp isn't too far from where you guys were, so, I mean, how are you processing what happened out there?
We were initially shocked, and we were a little scared, to be honest, but we did pray about it, and fortunately, we got through it.
It really shook a lot of the adults. We tried to keep the kids unaware of it.
Youth Minister Bryce Powers telling me his heart is with Camp Mystic right now.
We're blessed to have avoided the storm. We're blessed to be here, you know, we do send our thoughts and prayers out to the families of people who are lost and who they're still looking for.
Powers calling himself and his campers lucky that the water receded near them so they could come home.
Nature slowed it down just enough for us to get up out of there.
Reporting in North Houston, Orko Manna, KHOU 11 News.
The racial demographics of Kirk County, Texas in 2025 are estimated to be roughly 68% white, 2% black. Make that make sense. And at first I wasn't even going to make this video, but then I thought about it. Where's the same care and outrage when Daniel Penny choked that black man out on a train? Matter of fact, you had people that raised millions of dollars for Daniel Penny. Where's the same care and outrage for Jabari Peoples? At only 18 years old, you had a cop murder him in cold blood. He's sitting in the car with a young lady. Cop knocks on his window and said, "What you doing, boy?" They get out of the car. He shoots Jabari in the back for no reason, and then had the audacity to lie and say that he had a gun. And right now, at this very moment, every single day, his family is fighting for the body cam footage. They don't want to show the body cam footage. Make that make sense. Where's the same care and outrage for our ancestors that was thrown to alligators at Nottoway Plantation? Matter of fact, you had people sad that the plantation burned down, and I can go on and on. They was mad because they can't have weddings. Make that make sense. And like I say, I can go on and on. All I say is keep that same goddamn energy, partner. And wait, before I read this, it wasn't just Kirk County, Texas. The storm traveled to another racist place, Chapel Hill, North Carolina. Check this history out. On November 17, 1937, the Imperial Wizard of the KKK, Dr. Hiram Evans, delivered a speech advocating for white supremacy to 1,000 students and faculty at the University of North Carolina, Chapel Hill. The event was hosted by the University of North Carolina Political Science Department and the Carolina Political Union. Make that make sense. So let me get this straight. Our ancestors that built the University of North Carolina, you telling me these people had the audacity to name a building that our ancestors built after a KKK leader? Now look at them. Everything is complete loss. Eastgate Crossing witnesses assess flood damage. This was published July 10, 2025. That was yesterday. Central North Carolina took a massive hit from Tropical Depression Chantal on Sunday as a storm that was projected to drop 3 inches of rain ended up flooding the community with as much as 10 inches. Breaking rainfall records and causing millions of dollars in damage. Make that make sense. Now look, we may never get reparations, and how ironic. North Carolina was one of those states that promised reparations and they lied. Now look at them, they can't catch a break with these storms every single year, and we may never get reparations, but I promise you, they'll never live happily ever after. Everything that was built off the backs from the bloods of our ancestors will be destroyed. I told y'all, the game is cold. And before I go, I have to say this again. Rest in peace to those young girls that died in that flood. But also keep the same energy of care. Keep the same energy of outrage when it comes to black people. Do not let the media control what you overlook. Do not let the media control what you care about. I'm out.
I agree. You see what the consequences is? You see the consequences of retribution? Sometimes this ain't physical, this ain't military. This has happened because there was injustice in the earth. When there's injustice in the earth due to the bad occasion, this is what happened. Now generations of those children have to pay. And like I said in the previous video, the evidence is there. Now you see what they try to do. They try to come back at us to make us the scapegoat. Look what they done. They hurt their own. They hurt their own people. Now their people hurt the most. But I bet you Donald Trump did that because he thought most of immigrants and people that look like us was on the system. But he turned around and go back to them same counties that was predominantly white and had no idea throughout this country that, back was Nebraska to West Virginia to Iowa to different places. And a lot of there's hardly no industry there. So guess what? Most likely, some of the people probably on assistance. So yeah, as far as the political part, just because someone look like you don't mean they have your best interest. Same thing I tell to my black people. Let that psychology weigh in on a second. And as far as the sundown towns, you reap what you sow. You reap what you sow. Now you see how it's going. And even though innocent people got caught in that may not be like that, they live around these idiots who push the laws, who have Klan members in the area, but that unrighteousness is paving the path. They thought they can get away. You don't get away with something. There's still blood, innocent blood, and it's a generational from. You can look at Black Cultural Show what they've done to African Americans, and look what they're doing today. They keep the same spirit of hatred, jealousy, envious towards blacks. And look what it's costing them. And they look like they want blacks to, but not a black person picked up a gun. See this weapon that these racist white people, some of whom are racist, don't understand. The God of Israel is handling this. He's teaching you a lesson. That's what it is. They're talking, and it's what these nationalists, these it's no different than these people who are like these people like ISIS. They want to start a religion war, so they go and cause chaos and destruction around the planet. Racist people do the same thing. They ain't no different than ISIS that's over there and them other groups of people. But there's a cost. When swift justice comes, they didn't have the time to repent, and they die for the cause. They think that they're going to a paradise, but when they meet the maker of death, it's not going to be a friendly place. Same way it's with the racists. Your Klansmen and the ones that were Confederate that had Klan mentality. They're not in paradise. Hitler's not in paradise. What he done? Stalin, not in paradise. Leopold, not in paradise. Columbus, not in paradise. Slave, whatever you did wrong to people and justify, cannibalize them and everything, no paradise. And there's some people that still carry that spirit to this present day in this country in different places. They think that they can do things in high places and get away with it, but they can't. Let this be a lesson. You may get by, but you won't get away. And it may affect what you do in this earth that you get by. It's gonna affect somebody around you. It don't pay to do wrong. So I hope I hope you take a lot from this message. And to the people, this not tend to attack all people who are white, but was the ones around you who subconsciously is white, who's indirectly, who's racist and prejudice. It's time for their eyes to open up. That's why I made this video. Because it can visit at your door. And what they think and why they can't happen, why things ain't turning, is because what they put in the atmosphere. You put hatred in the atmosphere, you give back something. You put negativity in it and hatred and micronism and all these other things to exploit and oppose and hold back, because this is a generational thing that happened. This thing when we talk about, that's why black people can't let it go, because we see the same generation every decade, every generation sees it. This is what we've been trying to tell you. But now, remember 2019 when you heard the blacks said this, the ones you said that some people thought they were speaking hate speech. The ones said they were Hebrews. They warned you. They warned you that this was coming. And we were talking about what's the big old deal? And then some thought it was just a grift. No, this was the turning of the table. That's connected to the scriptures in the Bible. Since your ancestors done this to us for this long, now it's coming back. It's flipped. And now it's hitting areas, in rural towns, small towns. Some towns that were sundown towns. Now you see, and like I showed in the video, you see high concentration of drugs, substance abuse among rural white teenagers. White women is not having kids at mass numbers. Some of them don't want to have children. Because I forgot to mention this, they're one of the cheap top ones to lead in the fight with abortion. I mean, other women do have abortion, but white women campaign that. That's another reason why. The warfare is not about what you think. It's within you and the people that look like you. That's the warfare. You've been trying, and that's what the Donald Trumps and these other people with a mindset don't understand, that we're going to boost up our patriot white population. When you have middle-aged white men that losing their farms. You see the picture? So this ain't directed at all white people. It's the ones who don't think that there's no race. There's no race. They don't see the problem. Now you see the problem. Now you see, you're starting to reap what we felt and things like that. So just this is not. It's not about hatred. It's about I'm waking up your eyes. It's a warning. Change your ways. Take care. Be blessed. See you on the next video.